Hello detail enthusiasts. Today we are talking headlight restoration. I plan on making a video demonstrating the two different levels of headlight restoration that I offer. One being just a cleaning and a polish, and the other one being a sanding and a coating. You see I got a nice specimen here from the junkyard, clouded over. And I plan on using this as an example to give my customers so they know what each level entails. I'll go over the process that I use and the different equipment and chemicals. Over here you can see the polishing side. I always start with a cleaning with the clay bar towel. A couple different pads. Got the drill with the 3-inch adapter on it. And the usual suspects as far as chemicals. So you got the Plastex, the Maguire Professional Twins here, 105, 205, and Headlight Protectant. That's the polishing side. On the wet sanding restoration side, I have what Maguire's used to offer as their professional headlight restoration kit, which came with the pneumatic tools. I think these are Chicago pneumatics. One's a dual action polisher, the other one's kind of a rotary. I use the dual action for sanding and the rotary for the polishing. Also came with all these different grits of sandpaper, which I normally don't use all of them. And you see I have the 3M 3000 grit, I'm not sure how to pronounce it, Trizit paper here. It's nice and soft and thin. I use that for hand polishing. And same over here, I got the 2000 grit Maguire's Unigrit sandpaper and just a regular old sanding block. For my coating, I use the spar urethane method, where they actually mix 50-50 or 60-40 depending on who you're talking to, with the mineral spirits and the urethane itself. And I have a little bit mixed up already. So let me get my area ready, and I'll probably go to the GoPro and I'll start the video. Alright, I'm back. You can see I got everything set up. Got the headlight stuck down into a wood clamp here. Nice and secure. Get a good look at it. You can really see the texture. I got it taped here. This portion here I'm not going to touch. I'm going to divide this in half once I start after I clean it, because I'm going to clean the entire headlight, since I do that regardless if I'm wet sanding it or not. I still got to clean it. But you can really see the texture and the yellowing, the discoloration, and just dirty. So let's start. This here is just Maguire's Last Touch spray. I use it for clay lube, which you can use any type of clay lube you have. This is real good. It gets a good portion of the oxidization right off before you even start. Plus it gives you a cleaner surface before you start polishing it, which is always better. You don't want any grit stuck in there that it's going to give you a pigtail later. I can already tell it's feeling a lot better. Getting a lot of that stuff that was on the surface out. Grab a microfiber. I could have had ready earlier, I suppose. I mean, that alone made a pretty good difference. And you know, whenever you detail a car, you usually clay bar the headlights anyways. Alright, let's move on to polishing. Alright, I'm going to start with what I believe is probably the most common, easiest, less abrasive method there is, which is just an application of Plastex put on with the drill. A couple drops on there. Let's come out. It's like trying to get the ketchup out. There we go. Let's see what we got here. Quite a difference. Gotta say that Plastex is pretty good stuff. You can see right here, it's actually a bug etching, which I always tell people that you want to get the bugs off your car and your paint as quickly as possible. You get this stuff. Acid and the bug actually etched itself right into the acrylic of the headlight. I gotta say, wow, that's a pretty good difference just from the Plastex. I may have picked a too easy headlight out of the junkyard. Still got the scratches and stuff, but the oxidization is pretty much gone at that point. I'll move on to an alternate method just to demonstrate how far we can go with this headlight. Alright, just for the fun of it, pulled out my DeWalt rotary, put a big nasty wool foam pad on there, just a wool pad. I'm going to hit it with the Maguire's Professional Clear Plastic Cleaner, and we'll see if we can improve on what I just did with the cleaning and the Plastex. Kind of worried I might end up having some splattering going on here, more than likely. Hopefully I don't make too much of a mess. Got it set on 1000 RPMs, if you can see that. Crank it up. See, there's some acrylic staining on there. So I was actually taking some of that stuff off. Probably not deep enough to get those gouges and scratches out, but it was definitely more abrasive than just using the drill and the Plastex. And you can really see, just as quick as that was, how well that looks. So now I think I'm going to go ahead and put my tape line here, and I'm going to finish up this side with the headlight sealant. Well, I'm going to start with a polish it to a nice glossy finish, and then I'll put the sealant on there, and then I'll start wet sanding on this side and get it prepared for the spar urethane mix. back, set back up with the drill. Got my clear plastic polish ready, and this is just to refine the cleaning step that I did with the cleaner and the Plastex. The Plastex is really a standalone. You can buy this at any auto store, and it's consumer friendly. So I mean, really, that's probably all most people need if they're just looking to clean up their headlights. Typically on my own car, I'd hit it with the plastic maybe once a year and then put a little bit of the Headlight Protectant on it, and I never have an issue with my headlights. But if your headlights are far gone, they've never had any maintenance done to them, then you need to take it up a couple notches. And all this should be doing is refining the clarity on the lens itself to give that max clarity is what you're really looking for. Whoa! See ya. Scared me to death. Wife sneaking up on me like that. Alright, let's see what I got now. Looks like there's some stuff going on the inside of the lens, which you really can't do anything about. You can see that pretty obviously. Of course, there's that bug etch right there. A little bit more on the inside there, but I can actually see, not sure if it's showing up in the camera, you could see the micro damage done by the wool pad when I went at it with that. Not as much over here, which is probably attributed to the clear plastic polish we were using. Kind of see it there, the micro damage. And over here, most of that damage, well, I want to say pretty much all that damage was gone, except for the stuff that's inside the lens itself. Now, I want to put a little bit of the Headlight Protectant on there. And this is another thing you could buy at any auto parts store. Pretty common, consumer grade. Works pretty good. You may want to reapply it every 6 months or so. I do it every time I use a plastic polish, which is probably every 6 months. And it just helps keep that UV fading from happening to your headlights. And of course, when you wash your car, you should wax your headlights also. That will also help give a sacrificial barrier to the acrylic. Let that sun hit that stuff and wear it off instead of damaging your lights. It's an endless cycle, really. Now this stuff, it kind of smells like, well, it smells like suntan block to me, which I guess makes sense. But after you put it on, you kind of let it sit for just a little while, and then it's going to start getting tacky. This stuff dries, it's almost semi-hard, and then you just kind of want to buff it. And that'll even out any high spots you have, almost like putting on a coating on a car. It's not quite as hard as a coating. There's the, haven't done anything to that side. This is my deep cleaning polish sealant application side only. For this on headlights, I would typically charge 20 bucks. It takes me about 30 minutes to do. And over here, we stopped with just the cleaning. I didn't polish it at all. And I'm gonna go ahead and start sanding this. I'm gonna wet sand it, and I'm gonna refine it, and then I'm gonna put a urethane coating on it, and we'll see what the difference looks like between the three. All right, I'm back. I'm set up for some sanding. This is the Chicago Pneumatic dual action sander I was telling you about, which is a nice little tool. See it just like that. My compressor will probably be kicking on and off, so I may not be talking. I may even fast forward through a lot of this. But you see I got a second line of tape here. I just put that on my original side so that I knew exactly where my line was. So I'll peel that off. And over the shoulder. And I'll sand this section. Now, as far as sanding goes, they give me all this sandpaper here, which is super expensive, and I'm sure they'd love you to use all of it. I typically start with 1,800 on here. Their 1,000 grit's kind of funny. This is 800 grit. That'll give me a good idea of where I'm standing at. And from there, I'll just move right on up the different grits. This is not degreaser, it's just water, because I wet sand everything. Makes it a lot easier as far as getting all the dust. If you try dry sanding this, you're going to get a lot of dust buildup on your pad. I know some people do it that way. I don't. It's just my preference. I find it easier to just wet sand it. Now, another thing with the tools. I always start off with the tools, which is great for speeding things up, and you're able to get a lot faster, deeper onto the acrylic. But I like to finish it out by hand. So when I get up to the 2,000 grit range, that's when I do it by hand. The problem is with the tools, if you get a little bit of grit built up in here, any type of imperfection, you'll get these little pigtails in here, and that can be a real pain in the butt getting out later. So you got to continuously clean your pad or clean your sandpaper. See how it's already bringing that acrylic up, taking that old dead layer off, which isn't too much of a dead layer after we cleaned it. A headlight that's like this, if the customer wanted me to do the more expensive wet sanding job, I would probably clean the entire headlight, send them a picture of this, and ask them if they really want me to continue to try to make it any clearer, because a lot of people will be very happy with this going from that. Give them that option. You know, I think that's a good policy to have. My pressure's not kicked on yet. Oh, well, that's probably why. May be wondering what I'm looking for, and that's just that it has a nice uniform sanding pattern all the way across it, which I think we're getting. There's a couple little spots that are deep gouged, but overall it's not too bad. It's coming out nice and frosty, as I like to say. Now, something I didn't add is this also has the Maguire's Foamy interface pad on it, which is a must to have, because you know all headlights got the curves on them, and this just kind of helps to cushion what you're doing. Looks like the pad's starting to get a little build up on it. Now, you may also be wondering how often you can go with one piece of sandpaper. This piece of sandpaper has probably seen a couple sets of headlights. I'll probably switch it out pretty soon. It's still cutting, but you'll notice it gets clogged after a while and it's not quite as effective as it once was. I'm using very, very light pressure here. You don't want to dig into it. You'll notice it's almost like when you use a dual action polisher. You don't want to push so hard that this quits spinning, which is easy to do. You know, you hold it and it's not going to move. You want it to be able to turn just like that. If you hold it so hard, it's just vibrating. You're not doing what you're supposed to be doing.